Hey, how's it going? Long week for me. Still slightly hoarse. Getting over that. Well, hopefully quickly, but we'll see how it goes. Because you see, Monday's usually my long video, which means ideally my voice is better by the time I sit down in front of a camera for an hour. That said, I did just do a hour-long Terraforming Mars unboxing. Hasn't gone up yet. You didn't miss anything. So we'll see. I guess I can survive through those things. But hopefully my voice gets a drop better soon. I should probably have more tea. Tea with honey, they say, or something. Either way, we'll figure it out. I'm feeling fine. Just hoarse. It happens to me here and there. Maybe it's all the talking I do. I probably should slow down a bit. It's not the talking, it's the lack of sleep. But, to give context, if I get not enough sleep 3 days in a row, that's usually what happens. I can survive on 6 hours of sleep. I can survive on getting 5 hours of sleep. But if I get like 5 hours of sleep 3 nights in a row, that's when my body's like, nuh-uh, not gonna happen. And so I have to learn to listen to my body, when that happens. Either way, hi, I'm Alex Radcliffe from BoardGameCo, and this is the Week in Review. So, time to go over the various stuff from news, things, all the kind of things, what I played, what videos went up last week, general news and updates of all kinds. And to begin with, weight loss. I don't have anything in terms of weight loss this week. I didn't have a chance to weigh myself. We also just had the holiday, which means I'm scared to weigh myself. I'm going to have a little bit of a more restricted week next week. Basically, holidays, Jewish holidays, involve lots of food. It's a common joke amongst, Jews, Orthodox Jews, that when you have these, Thanksgiving magazines of, how to prepare for Thanksgiving, 7 tips for making sure everything fits in the fridge, or dealing with leftovers. You don't have to make it all. You can buy that pie crust. Whenever those magazines come out about Thanksgiving, we find it amusing, because if you are an Orthodox Jew who keeps the various holidays, then you know that Thanksgiving is basically every single week, twice a week on Saturday, Shabbat, we have giant meals. And then every single holiday, we have tons of giant meals. So Shavuot, which is a 2-day holiday, Monday and Tuesday, we had 2 Thanksgiving meals on Saturday, then we had 2 Thanksgiving meals on Monday, and then again 2 on Tuesday. Basically dealing tons, and technically it's 3 meals, but one tends to be smaller. Either way, we have lots of food. It's a real problem. I've always said that the only reason Jews aren't constantly overweight is because in order to balance out the tons of food for all the holidays, we also can't eat unless it's kosher, which means our restaurants are restricted and our casual, eating of whatever is a little bit more restricted. That's a little bit of a tangent to say that I definitely ate too much food this holiday. Shavuot is the holiday of cheesecake, and cheesecake is delicious. And so I'm going to be a little restrictive this week while I try to make sure I just didn't gain anything. We'll see how that goes, but I'll update you next week. Past that, where are we? So, this week, we have a bunch of things, some personal channel stuff kind of, in the next week and a half, week and a half. Between now and June 1st, I have 13 videos that need to go up. Not 13 regular videos, 13 reviews between now and June 1st. That's 13 videos dedicated to reviews in basically 10 days. And the reason for that, and most of these, for context, by the way, I've already played about half of them. No, more than that. I've played more than half of them, and I filmed about half of them. That's not the issue. The issue is just the number of days that I have available to put up reviews. I put up reviews on, Saturdays and on Tuesdays, and that's, even if I do 5 a week will get me mostly there, but it's tricky. I'm probably gonna have an extra review day thrown in somewhere just to make it all work. We'll see how that goes. Either way. Point is, it's jam-packed. I accidentally overcommitted, not to my schedule, but to the time frame. One thing I've never really looked at. I have to change how I schedule things. I always take a look at my own schedule and what I can cover. That's why I'm not worried about continuing to play the remaining ones and continuing to film the remaining ones. I'm just worried about the amount of days I have to put these up, because I didn't think through the fact that I accepted one here, one there, and along the timeline I just accepted, hey, yeah, sure, I can cover that. And then they're all launching in the same period. So, yay, we'll figure it out. Good problems to have. Then additionally, speaking of, things related to the channel, I was just featured in Board Game Geek's Creator Spotlight, which was very nice. I appreciate that. Basically, if you head on over to Board Game Geek and you scroll down the homepage, they always have a Creator Spotlight highlighting different content creators in the board game community. And so yeah, that was a nice thing to see pop up on my feed. And then from there, going into news and updates. It's not always news, but first of all, shame on me. Absolute shame on me, because I just realized I forgot to include the biggest piece of news on my piece of paper over here. So the biggest piece of news is going to be that Chip Theory Games, if you haven't seen already, just posted something that they are not going to be giving us any more context or updates until 2022. It's a long time. It's actually not that long. 2021 is almost halfway done, but it's still a long time. They posted a picture of something Elder Scrollsy, and that's a big deal. That means Elder Scrolls, or Bethesda? I think it's Bethesda, right? Basically partnered together with Chip Theory Games to bring a game to our tables, likely in chip form. I mean, maybe it'll have miniatures, but you would think if you're going to partner with Chip Theory Games, do chips, you would think, right? I mean, you could do miniatures, but then just partner with another company. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. I will be paying attention, because who in the world won't be paying attention? I'm excited for them. I'm very excited for them. It's a long way from their original roots to being able to do something like this. So good on Chip Theory Games. Excited to see the game. Excited to see the quality, the whatever it is. I don't know more than that. But Chip Theory Games, Bethesda, something to do with stuff and things, and yay. Past that, there was an update for Stormsunder. If you haven't seen that, there was an update on Stormsunder showing you more, basically more sculpts for the game. I think they were the PVC plastic sculpts, so not resin masters, but PVC plastic. Additionally, and more importantly, we got pictures of the Stormbrush. So if you are someone who's been debating whether you want Stormbrush or not, check out that update, because I'll throw a link down below as usual. Check out that update, because lots of cool, pretty pictures. Now, to be clear, if you are someone who's on the fence and doesn't want to spend the money, then just forget that I said anything and move on and pay attention to one of the other updates, and don't go and spend money on Stormbrush for way too many miniatures that you don't need. By the way, I forgot to do this. These are the games I hope to play this week. I'll talk about more at the end of the video. It's nothing, we're not talking about these games in the video, just at the end of the video when I talk about things I hope to play this week. Moving on from there, moving from Stormbrush, we had Bardsung. Speaking of various Kickstarters, we had Bardsung announce that their pledge manager will be closing May 31st. I don't know if it actually, that's my coffee spilling. I don't know if it actually will or won't close May 31st, but if it does, well, if you're uncertain, make sure to jump on in before May 31st if you want to get a taste of that game, because there's no guarantee if it'll be available after. Then we have Transformers. The Transformers, the deck building game, was announced by Renegade. They recently did Power Rangers, the deck building game, which I know Board Game Coffee, Mark Maya, reviewed it very favorably. I have no idea if the Transformers deck building game will be good or not. I like deck building games. I'm hesitant on IPs, but we'll see how that goes. Then we have Tidal Blades. Tidal Blades has not really news. This is just a nice story, a feel-good story. Now, I generally have these feel-good stories about Chip Theory Games. They are someone who reaches out to various people randomly and says, hey, sorry that thing happened to you, here's a game. Or, hey, sorry that you feel this game's overpriced, why don't we just give it to you? They are awesome at, spreading the love. But now we have a story about that with Tidal Blades, with James Hudson, where somebody posted on one of the forums on Facebook that, that you want to know heartbreak, it's not from losing this or that, it's from having your copy of Axis and Allies World War I 1914 stolen. That it's a game that he bought it for $80 and you can't get it for less than $400 now. And I mean, first of all, heartbreak is not that. Heartbreak is actual things that are much worse than that. But me being pedantic aside, James Hudson chipped on in saying, hey, it's not a $400 game, but we'd love to send you a copy of Tidal Blades. It's cool. I love it. I love it when companies engage in goodwill in the community. Even, by the way, even if it's completely selfishly motivated for the sake of good press, I don't care. Do good things. I don't care about the motivation, the reason. There's a Jewish saying, metoch lo lishma ba lishma, where from the aspect of doing things without the right reason, you will come to do them with the right reason. But the general idea is good actions are good actions. We'll get to the good intent as well. But and not to say that James Hudson does not have good intent. Knowing James Hudson, he's got an overflowing heart of gold, so I assume it's with good intent too. I'm just saying, my point is, even when it's corporate, whatever, I don't care. Do good things. It's nice when people do, and it adds value to this world. It adds feel-good moments, and this world could always use a few more feel-good moments. And from there, let's head on over to the What I Played segment. Now, this one, I don't have dates attached to these yet because I haven't filled out half my things, so I'll go through it. I have like 4 games I logged, and then I have a draft email with the rest of my games that I didn't log, but they're all the stuff I played over Shabbat, over Shavuot, and basically those things. So, let's get into it. Oh, and I forgot to log that one. I should log that too. I'll log it later. Oh boy. Okay, cool. let's get into it. So we have more plays of Cat Lady by AEG. I'll have a review of that with Ricky coming at some point. We have Ruthless. I got a game of Ruthless. That is by, who's it by? I think it's by Alley Cat Games, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So we have Ruthless. We have Bullet. I got a bunch of games of Bullet in. There will be a review of that. I've been going through both the general solo mode, the boss mode, as well as playing with other players. We'll have a review coming for that. I have Exploding Kittens with Ricky. Don't judge me, but more Exploding Kittens. We have Fall of the Mountain King. We'll talk about that soon. I'll talk about it at the end of the video when I tell you what I hope to play with it or whatnot. But I got in a play of that. Now I head over and I got a play of Final Fusion in. Final Fusion is an upcoming Kickstarter as well. I'll have a review of that as well. And let me go ahead and head over to my drafts over here so that I can take a look at the rest of the things I've played. Here we go. Because I have a lot of games here. A lot of games. Okay. We have Meadows. Meadows is an upcoming game, not an upcoming Kickstarter. I played that with Quackalope. We have Cyclades. I got some games of Cyclades in. Oh my gosh, Cyclades holds up. It is so much fun. Speaking of giant epic games that I haven't played in a while, I played Dogs of War. Dogs of War is also an epic game, also holds up. Cyclades I played with Titans. I tend to alternate between playing with and without Titans when I play Cyclades because I like it both ways. I know a lot of people consider Titans to be an upgrade. I consider Titans to be a parallel step. It adds value to the game in some ways, takes away from some of the elegance in other ways. Overall, I enjoy both ways. I tend to alternate, well, depending on what the people around me want to do as well. Then we have Exploding Kittens, more Exploding Kittens. We have more Bullet, Dogs of War, which I just said. We have Shamans. Shamans is a game that I will have coverage on as well. Very interesting game. It's going to be an interesting review too, but I have to get, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it when we get into that. We have Oros. I played some Oros, which is a game that I've talked about on the channel. It's an upcoming It is an upcoming Kickstarter. Make sure to pay attention to that because it's a cool game. It's going to do well. We have Destinies. Oh, Destinies. I have my review of that going up today. We'll talk about Destinies, but it's good. It's an app-based game that I love, that I'm keeping, and that I can't wait to play again. We'll talk about it more. Then we have Adventure Tactics. Got more Adventure Tactics games to the table. I'm still going through the campaign with my kids. We have Taco Cat. Taco Cat's going to be another game in the Exploding Kittens line. Basically, I mean, in addition to the fact that my daughter likes them, I have a review of a bunch of them consolidated into one video, so we were just going over a few more games of them just to refresh ourselves on them before we do the review. Then we have Ruination. Ruination is going to be by Colossal Games, designed by Travis Chance. Got a first game of that in. Hope to get some more games in, and then we'll have a review at some point. Baron Park. This is a good week for pulling some old stuff off the table. Baron Park is another game that I absolutely adore. Haven't played in a while. Played it completely with adults, by the way. I've said this in the past. Baron Park is a game I'm happy to play with adults, happy to play with family, with kids, with gateway gamers. Baron Park holds up in all forms to me, and played it with a bunch of adults. We all had fun, and that's all. Actually, Ricky did join, but she joined last minute. I forgot about that. We weren't planning on playing with Ricky, but she did join last minute because she saw it and she wanted to join and she knows how to play. So she joined that. We have Ecos. Ecos by AEG. That's a surprise hit. That was one I was not expecting a lot from, but we played it and then we played it again and we're going to be playing it again. And I have the expansion. We're going to be playing it again. We're enjoying it. Don't get too, it's not like, oh my gosh, it's the best game ever. It just was a surprise. We'll talk about it more. I will have a review coming at some point. Red Rising. Got another game of Red Rising in. Rena does not like Red Rising. Update on that. I don't like the gameplay of Red Rising. I like the end game scoring. I like building my hand. I don't like the actual gameplay procedural. Red Rising to me is always an interesting one where every time I play it, I'm like, this might be my last game. And then I get to the end game and I'm like, that was fun. I want to do it again. So it's a weird hybrid for me in terms of how that plays out. We have Sheepy Time, another AEG. Wow, I'm getting a lot of AEG games this week. Sheepy Time is going to be another AEG game. This is a tricky one. Sheepy Time, in theory, I can make an argument that you could play with adults. But when I get a game with that theme, I tend to pull it out and play with my kids, and then I think of it as a kid's game, even though it might not be. I think Sheepy Time is a kid's game, but the more I play it, and once I review it, if I review it, then we'll cover through my thoughts on adults versus kids and all that. We have The Witcher. Got 2 more plays of The Witcher in, because I have a review coming up on Sunday. We'll talk about that soon later. Then we have For Glory. For Glory is a game that I haven't played in a while. I reviewed it with Rena. And again, it's nice. It's nice I play these games, I review the game, and then it goes on a shelf, and then 6 months later, I'm like, do I really need that game? I have so many new games. Is that one good enough? For Glory is good. I enjoy it. Glad I got to pull it off the table. Canvas. More plays of Canvas. Some more plays of Asonia. I still need to review it for the channel. Sorry for the delay on that. And then Root. Root is a game that I absolutely adore, and despite my complaints about it, and it is one that we got to the table again this week. Who won? Quackalope won. Quackalope won at Root. He played who are the Ravens? the Corvid. He played the Corvid Conspiracy and he won. It was a close game. It was he won by 2 points. It was, I think it was 30, 29, 28, and then one player down at 13. So overall, pretty tight game, less that one player. Okay, so that covers everything, which brings us to the week in review. So week in review part is going to be Saturday. Last Saturday I had a video for Fleet, well, a gameplay video for Fleet. Was it last Saturday? I've lost track. I think it was last Saturday. Did I have anything else? Let me just quickly check here, because now I'm wondering if I did this 2 weeks ago. Give me 1 second. Videos. I am certain that Fleet was this last Saturday. Fleet, 5 days ago. That seems reasonable. Cool. So, Fleet, the dice game. I had a video of playing Fleet with Rena. We enjoy that. Fleet, the dice game specifically, not the card game. We love Fleet. Solid game. We still enjoy it. And, well, we played and reviewed it. Then I had Red Rising, which I guess I just told you my thoughts on Red Rising again, but those are my thoughts on Red Rising. Red Rising is still in my collection for now, but it's not a game I'm going to ask to play. I know Shira likes it more than I do, so if she asks to play it, I'm happy to play it. But if she doesn't ask to play it, Red Rising might go away. Again, I like the endgame scoring. I do not love the actual game. So it's an interesting balance. I think it's worth trying for sure. But whether or not it stays in my collection, I'm just glancing at the shelf over there. Whether or not it stays in my collection is I would argue it would not. It's just a question of how long it stays in my collection. Then from there we have Sunday. Nope. Sunday, yes, Sunday. Then Sunday we have the Witcher interview. I did an interview with Lukasz Wozniak, and basically, first of all, he's like 6'6" or something like that, or maybe 6'2". He's tall, okay? He makes Tom Vassell look not tall. By the way, Tom Vassell is tall. In case you didn't know that, Tom Vassell is very tall. But either way, interview with The Witcher, with Lukasz, and going over different aspects of the game, what to expect from the Kickstarter, all fun things. I don't often do interviews. I do them if I'm interested enough in the subject, the topic, the game. It needs to be more interesting to me, because, speaking frankly, interviews don't tend to do as well, and it tends to be harder to get people who are interested in hearing a designer talk about their game. People want to hear about the game, not the designer talking about their game, which is interesting because arguably the designer talking about the game gives you a lot of info and context, but either way, interviews tend not to do well, which means I only do them when I am personally interested in doing them, not for the sake of having good content for the channel. That said, the Witcher interview did do well because the Witcher has 40,000 people signed up for the game, so yeah, there's that. Then on Monday was to back or not to back. Not a lot of exciting things. It was a very short video, but from those, I'm still backing, I think, 2 of them. I'm backing a Hoplomachus Victorum, and I probably should have looked this up before. I'm backing 1 other in that video, but yeah, I think I have 2 backs this week. Then we have Tuesday. Tuesday was going to be Adventure Tactics and Guildmaster reviews. So Adventure Tactics, solid game. I'll have more content today about that. We'll talk. But effectively, Adventure Tactics is going to be a game that I really enjoy. I'm not going back to the adult versus kids discussion. I would not play it with adults, or at least I don't think I would. I mean, if an adult wanted to play it, I'd play it. I wouldn't suggest it, but I would play it solo, and I do play it with my kids, and I think it's a solid game, lots of fun. Expansion coming up soon. I'll talk about that later in the video. That's going to be Adventure Tactics. Then Guildmaster. Guildmaster, I put up a video for. I was middle of the road on that one. It's a solid game. It's not one I'm keeping in my collection because, and this is tricky. So this goes into the conversation of, there are some games I don't keep in my collection because it's not a good game. Well, not a good game is the wrong thing. There are different tiers of why I get rid of games. Either I didn't enjoy it, I enjoyed it but I enjoy other games more, and then the third category that's gotten very tricky for me is the category of games I would very potentially keep, but I have too many games coming in with the facet of doing content creation that's entered my life. I have a higher rotation of games, which means I need to be more cutthroat than Alex the gamer would be. Alex the obsessive gamer, but Alex the obsessive gamer who gets lots of games is one level of cutthroat. And then there's Alex the content creator who has to be more cutthroat because I can only play so many games. So Guildmaster is not staying in my collection, but don't take it as too much of a strike against Guildmaster. Also, I had to put a little pin and update in my review because we actually played it correctly the first time, and then a standard practice I have is I reread the rulebook when I'm done because I like to make sure I'm playing it correctly. And you usually have more of a context when you've actually played the game. So I did that. And when I reread the rulebook, I was like, oh, we played it wrong. You have to do this, this, and this. And I reread it 3 times because I didn't like the suggestion. It was about how you restock the market. And I reread it, and I was like, well, I don't like that, but I guess I'll try it that way. Tried it that way. Sure enough, did not like it as much. I found the market to be too competitive, which is why in my review I mentioned, hey, easy house rule. Don't play it that way because we played it incorrectly or correctly the first time. But then I found out that this is going to get confusing. My correction of the game was incorrect. We had played it correctly the first time and incorrectly the second time, and thus my review was based on the incorrect play rather than the correct play. That said, in both cases, I liked it but didn't love it, and so ultimately it is leaving my collection. Solid game, worth checking out, very cutthroat. If you like backstabbery and betrayal amongst your group, lots of fun to be had here. For me, I prefer something less backstabbery and betrayal. I like backstabbery and betrayal in games is a very nuanced thing of when I like it and when I don't. In Guildmaster, I was okay with it. It did not pull me in, and thus it's the core mechanic of the game to me is one that I'm not keeping in my collection. Adventure Tactics is absolutely in my collection, by the way. Then Wednesday. Wednesday is why I shouldn't have backed Marvel United. This was an interesting one, and it was a fun video to do. It's always a fun video because you're always going to have different kinds of people who watch these videos. You'll have people who appreciate and understand where I'm coming from, and you'll have people who don't really understand the point of these videos. There's a degree of angst in the way I talk about games and the way I talk about Kickstarter. That's an intentional degree of angst. It's not me trying to be angsty or uncertain. It's me. I think anyone who is spending $500 a year on board games or more, and it is or more, I think there should be a degree of angst around that. This is a luxury hobby. This is a hobby of buying games we don't need more of, buying luxury, deluxified, over-the-top games or all-in pledges that we don't need. I think there should be a degree of angst around that spending, and it's a constant struggle I go through. When does it make sense? When does it not make sense? When am I making a bad decision that I want to stop making? When am I making a bad decision that I'm okay making? These are constantly part of the conversation in my mind, which means when I do these videos, I usually get a lot of people who are in the same position, who are going through those same struggles and challenges, and it's nice to hear a content creator not just talk about the hype, but also talk about the self-control. But I do both, which makes it seem weird. I'm not the guy on Kickstarter telling you not to back things, nor am I the guy on Kickstarter telling you to back things. I'm doing both at the same time, which leads to the other group of people. The other group of people are going to be, there's always a few people who don't get that is reasonable. They find it inconsistent. You know, hey, you're the one telling us to back Kickstarters, why are you doing this? Or whatever kind of comments. Not nothing overly aggressive, but it's just there's comments from people who understand the angst, and there's comments from people who don't. The angst is intentional. It's part of the process. I think when you do things that are questionable in life and spending $500 a year on board games when you have more than enough games to play already, I think that's questionable. So I think the process of evaluating our decisions along the way is a good thing to do. And so I will constantly do it, just along with you and with a whole lot more people talking to me as I do it. I appreciate y'all being here. Thanks. Thursday was a video with Rena, top 10 beautiful games. That was we just picked 10 games off our shelves that the art resonated with us. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of more games I would love to pick for this video. There are so many games. Ironically, it's the first time I actually stuck to like 10 games in the video. Whatever, oversight on my part. But there are so many games. There's Wild Descent. There's Awari behind me. There's, Either Fields is beautiful art. Monumental. I debated pulling Monumental. The Gallerist. Mountain King. There's so many. Endeavor, Age of Sail. Baron Park. Nah, not Baron Park. No. Rise of the, what's it called? Five Tribes. There's so many games. Raj of the Ganges. There's dozens and dozens of games with absolutely gorgeous artwork that's stunning, that pulls you in. We only could pick 10. And ironically, we stuck to 10 this one time. But yeah, top 10 beautiful games. Not Terraforming Mars. That one's not in the video. Then Friday. Friday is today. Today's Friday. I'm filming this now. And we have going up in about 52 minutes, we are going to have, what are we having? We have what's called 7 amazing publishers going up in 52 minutes. Well, okay. In my 52 minutes going up, you already saw this on Friday. We have 7 amazing publishers. Basically me talking about different publishers in the board game space and why I value the way they engage and interact with others. They focus on building people up and building community. They add value to the space in a way that I truly appreciate, and I want to give them shoutouts. So that was that video. Later Friday, we have an Assassin's Creed all-in unboxing. Assassin's Creed, it's finally here. I'm excited. Are you excited? You should be excited. I'm excited. Watch my video. I'm excited. It looks cool. I loved Assassin's Creed the video game. Did not like Assassin's Creed the movie. I typically do not like board game movies. Mortal Kombat was not bad. Either way, Assassin's Creed unboxing and rambling. I have fun with it. Went up Friday, later today for me. Which brings us to today. Today, we have going up at 12 EST, we have Adventure Tactics, Adventures in Alchemy going up. It's going to be a Kickstarter, not really a review because it's basically mostly the same as the base game, but just more. So it's a review in the sense that it's more good stuff, and I'm happy with that. But either way, you can watch that. Covers what to expect in the Kickstarter, all those kinds of things. And then we have going up at 2 Eastern Standard Time, we have my review for Destinies going up. Destinies is awesome. You can watch that review. Next week coming up, we have the Witcher review going up on Sunday. We're going to have a Witcher Should You Back It or Not going up later in the week because the Witcher is going to be a big one. There's definitely going to be a Should You Back It or Not. And then I I don't know if I have a to back or not to back going up Monday. If I don't, then I'll have something else. If I do, then I'll have it. I think it's going to be something else. We'll see how that goes, but I think we're going to have a replacement video of something to do with Kickstarter. I don't know, 10 Kickstarters I didn't back, and I wish I did. I don't actually have that, but we'll figure out something. I'll throw a Kickstarter related video where I can talk about Kickstarter, because I like Kickstarter, and we'll talk about that. That will be Monday, probably. We'll see. And then, past that, or lastly, going to what you see over here. So, here are just some things I plan on getting to the table this weekend. Follow the Mountain King. Like I said already, I got an initial play in. Initial impressions are solid. I want to get another game in before I do a review. This may be my favorite. I would be surprised if this were not my favorite Burnt Island games yet. I like Endeavor Age of Sail. I like In the Hall of the Mountain King. I like In Too Deep. But they are all 4 to 5s for me. They are all 4 to 5s for me. They are all solid games that I don't think are the best of the best. They all are really fun, all in my collection. This one, I'm not yet sure where it ends up. I need more than one play. I'm not sure where it ends up, but as of right now, I can tell you I'm already uncertain whether it's a 4 or a 5. More plays needed, but this is my favorite Burnt Island games yet, to date. We have Death Roads. Death Roads, I hope to get some more plays in this weekend. This is a racing game I've talked about in the past, coming to Kickstarter, I believe mid-July. I have to double check. I think it's mid-July, but it is a fun racing game. It looks like the kind of thing that you'd expect to be cheesy and not good. It is cheesy and good. Then we have Terraforming Mars Big Box, Terraforming Mars Unboxing, whatever it is. Not unboxing. Terraforming Mars, the giant ridiculous box. I did an unboxing video of this last night. You haven't seen it. It's going up next week. I don't know when. Sometime next week it's going up. But I hope to get a play of it because I want to play with all the cool new pieces. Because yay, new pieces. And that's going to be... These are the games I hope to get to the table this week. Well, some of the games. There's a lot more than these 3. But these are just some of the games I hope to get to the table this week. As always, I'm Alex Radcliffe from BoardGameCo. Thanks so much for being here, for putting up with my shenanigans and things. Have a good weekend. And until... Words. Have a good weekend. And as always, have a good one.